You know that feeling? Like life's just this constant pressure cooker.
Mm-hmm.
Work demands piling up, money worries, just this relentless stream of stuff online. Even, those little tensions in
Yeah,
relationships.
they all add up, don't they?
Really feels like we're all trying to sprint a marathon. But maybe the key isn't about, like, clearing the path ahead,
Yeah.
but strengthening ourselves from the inside.
That's a really great way to put it. We do tend to focus on the external stuff, don't we? The things happening to us.
Right.
But really, how we navigate all that, how we keep our cool, that comes
Mhm.
down to our internal resources. And today, we're really getting into mental toughness.
Okay.
And the big thing here, the really crucial insight, is that this isn't some fixed thing you're born with. It's actually a set of skills you can learn.
Skills you can learn. Oh, yeah, I like the sound of that, like
Yeah.
building your own sort of psychological survival kit.
Exactly like that. Yeah.
So over this conversation, we're going to unpack the 5 core parts of mental toughness. We want to give you, the listener, a really solid toolkit. Emotional resilience, confidence, adaptability, setting boundaries, and self-awareness.
All the essentials.
Right. The things that help you handle life's pressures better, maybe with a bit more peace of mind.
And it's so relevant now, isn't it? Because we've almost normalized being constantly stressed. It's like this weird badge of honor sometimes. But here's the thing, and this is a key insight, this constant pressure. It's not just a bad feeling. It has, well, pretty big consequences for our overall well-being, often more than we realize.
Absolutely. It's so easy to just brush off feeling frazzled as, just another Tuesday.
Right.
But the data shows something much clearer. A huge majority, something like 77% of people actually report physical symptoms from stress.
77%, that's massive.
Isn't it? Think about those tension headaches that just won't quit, or feeling bone tired even after sleeping, or even like digestive issues flaring up.
Mm-hmm. Gut problems.
Yeah. It's surprising, isn't it?
Yeah.
Our bodies are basically trying to tell us something's wrong through these physical signals.
Precisely. And then there's the emotional and cognitive hit, too, which is substantial. Chronic stress, it's like this slow burn. It fuels irritability,
Yeah.
right? Which can really strain relationships.
Good look, Emily.
And anxiety that can go from just this background hum of worry to, well, full-blown panic sometimes.
Yeah.
And mentally, it messes with our focus. Our memory can get flaky. Even simple decisions suddenly feel like trying to wade through thick fog.
That mental fog feeling.
Yeah. So the main point here is that constant pressure doesn't just feel bad. It actually impairs how our brain works and chips away at our emotional stability.
It's those everyday things that really make it real, though. That
Yeah.
feeling of being constantly on, never quite switching off from work or the news feed,
Always connected.
or those Sunday scaries starting earlier, like Saturday night sometimes, stealing your weekends.
Yeah, the dread.
And how many of us check emails late at night knowing we shouldn't?
The key thing to recognize, I think, is this isn't just being busy. It's chronic stress, and it's subtly undermining our well-being.
And what's really interesting is, even though we know stress is bad for us, we often struggle to actually do the things that help.
Right. Why is that?
Well, sometimes it just feels like another chore on a massive to-do list. Plus, our old habits, our automatic ways of reacting to pressure, they're really hard to break.
Yeah, ingrained patterns.
Exactly. So we might understand intellectually we need to change, but when things get tough, boom, we snap back to those old, often unhelpful ways. The insight is that gap between knowing and doing. We need proactive strategies, not just quick fixes.
Makes sense. And the consequences if we don't address it, then are abstract. They're real. Our health, our happiness, just our general quality of life. Letting that constant stress just grind away, it leads to serious long-term issues.
It really does.
So the takeaway is pretty sobering, isn't it? There's a real personal urgency here, for now and for the future. But, and this is important, there is a hopeful side. Just recognizing this pattern is a huge first step.
Okay.
While we can't always control everything happening around us, we can change our internal response. We don't have to live in that state of constant agitation. There are real concrete ways to build up those internal resources we mentioned.
Build resilience.
Exactly, to navigate these choppy waters with more skill.
Okay, so let's talk about that feeling of being totally swamped.
Yeah.
That phrase, I'm so overwhelmed, we say it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of use it like I'm busy, but it feels heavier, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What's the real difference?
You've really hit on something important there. Busyness is about having lots of tasks, right?
Yeah.
But overwhelmed, that signals something deeper. A sustained feeling of agitation.
Agitation. Wow.
Think about how that feels physically. Like you're constantly juggling way too many fragile things, deadlines, responsibilities.
About to drop something.
Exactly. And you're being bombarded by notifications at the same time. So the insight isn't just the amount of stuff, it's the quality of that experience. Feeling stretched way too thin, losing that sense of control.
Yeah, that feeling of your mental bandwidth just being totally full, like your brain's got too many tabs open.
Perfect analogy.
And the really frustrating thing is, being in that state often makes us less effective.
Right. That's
That's
the paradox. Yes.
We put in more hours, but our focus is all over the place. We make more mistakes. Simple things take forever. So the surprising thing is overwhelm often tanks productivity even when we're working harder.
And that internal chaos, it inevitably spills over into our interactions with people.
Oh, for sure.
We might get snappy with loved ones or colleagues over small things just because our system's already overloaded.
Right. Short fuse.
Or maybe we withdraw just feeling too drained to really connect. Communication suffers, misunderstandings happen, and then there's decision fatigue. The more demands pile up, the harder it is to make good choices. So we put things off or make impulsive calls we regret later.
Yeah, I recognize that.
So the big insight here is how overwhelm really undermines us on multiple fronts, our effectiveness and our relationships.
And it sounds like this whole agitated state is basically a fast track to burnout.
It's a huge precursor, yes.
A complete exhaustion,
Yep.
physical, emotional, mental, not just tired, but like depleted, detached, feeling like nothing matters.
That's burnout. And yes, that chronic agitation, that feeling of being constantly overwhelmed, especially with the cognitive load of juggling everything, it really accelerates you towards that state.
So recognizing that agitation is like an early warning signal.
Exactly, a crucial one. Let's maybe make this more concrete. Imagine someone, let's call them Alex.
Okay.
Alex wakes up, first thing they do, grab the phone, check work emails, instantly feel behind schedule.
Yep.
Throughout the day, Alex is bouncing between tasks, reacting to every ping and notification, driven by this low-level anxiety about missing something important.
Task switching mania.
Totally. And despite working long hours, productivity feels low. So Alex works late, gets home, physically there, but mentally still checking messages, thinking about work.
Mentally absent.
Right. A simple question from their partner gets a sharp reply. Then later comes the guilt.
The guilt cycle.
Guilt about snapping, about not being present, about not getting enough done. But Alex feels trapped, you know? Doesn't see a way out, thinks this is just normal life now. Does any of that sound familiar to you, listening?
Oh, yeah. It's almost painfully relatable. That constant on feeling, the divided attention, the guilt. I think many of us see bits of ourselves in Alex. It's such a frustrating place to be. You want things to be different. You want calm. But you feel stuck in these patterns.
And that's the internal conflict, isn't it? That desire for peace and focus bumping up against the reality of just reacting all the time. We all want to feel capable and in control, present in our lives. So we get caught in these automatic responses, just reacting to whatever pops up instead of acting intentionally.
Right, just putting out fires.
Exactly. And the fundamental truth is, living like that, constantly reacting, it's not sustainable. It drains our joy. It impacts our health. It limits what we're capable of. So the big question becomes, how do we break that cycle?
Well, maybe the answer isn't trying to magically eliminate all the stress, because let's face it, that feels impossible sometimes.
It's unrealistic, yeah.
But maybe it's about building up our internal strength, our capacity to deal with it differently. Which brings us right back to mental toughness.
Precisely. And think of mental toughness not as some kind of, impenetrable armor that makes stress bounce off you. That's not it.
Right.
Think of it more like an invisible shield, a dynamic set of psychological skills that really boosts our ability to handle challenges and bounce back. And here's the really empowering part. It's not fixed. It's not something you're born with. It's like psychological muscles you can actually develop.
Muscles you can build. I like that.
Yeah.
Through practice and effort.
Okay, but we need to be clear about what mental toughness isn't, right? Because there are some misconceptions out there.
Oh, absolutely crucial. It is not about suppressing your emotions or pretending you're fine when you're not. That actually backfires.
Okay. So no stiff upper lip.
Definitely not. And it's not about being rigid or inflexible either, or thinking you should never need help. Actually, knowing when to ask for support, that's a real sign of strength and self-awareness.
That's a really important point. So differentiating true mental toughness from just like bottling things up.
Exactly. True mental toughness, based on the research, is really built on resilience, bouncing back, adaptability, adjusting to change, and really effective emotional management.
Okay.
That means understanding your emotions, guiding them constructively, not letting them hijack your thinking, especially under pressure. It's about emotional intelligence and regulation, not detachment.
Got it. So let's get practical. What are the actual core components, the building blocks of this mental toughness? Okay, well, looking at the research, we can boil it down to 5 key interconnected parts. First up, emotional resilience and regulation.
Okay, resilience and regulation.
This is your ability to manage how you react emotionally, to stay relatively composed, and think clearly even when things are tough. It's about consciously managing your emotional energy, not just squashing feelings down.
Conscious management. Okay, what's next?
Second is confidence. And this isn't arrogance. It's a realistic belief in your own ability to handle what comes your way, to achieve your goals. It's that self-assurance that lets you take action even when things feel uncertain.
Right, a grounded self-belief that leads to doing things.
Precisely. Third, adaptability. Super important today. This is your flexibility when faced with change, uncertainty, setbacks.
Embracing change.
Yes, embracing it, adjusting your plans, seeing challenges as chances to learn and grow. That's where having a growth mindset really comes in.
Growth mindset. We'll come back to that. Okay, fourth.
Fourth is boundary setting. This means knowing your own limits, physical, emotional, mental, and then being able to communicate and enforce them.
Saying no.
Saying no effectively is a big part of it. Saying no to things that would stretch you too thin or drain your energy, protecting your resources.
Makes sense. And the last one.
And finally, number 5, the foundation for all the others, self-awareness.
Ah, okay. Knowing yourself.
Exactly. A clear, deep understanding of your own thoughts, feelings, values, triggers, strengths, and weaknesses. Without that, it's hard to regulate emotions, build real confidence, adapt well, or even know where your boundaries need to be. It's the cornerstone.
So those are the 5. Emotional resilience and regulation, confidence, adaptability, boundaries, and self-awareness.
That's the framework.
And the really great news you said is these are all learnable skills.
Absolutely. Not fixed traits. You can actively cultivate them. Through consistent practice, small habit changes, deliberately stepping outside your comfort zone sometimes.
Like what kind of things?
Things like setting achievable goals, consciously practicing positive self-talk, maybe gradually facing situations that make you a bit anxious. These all build that mental muscle over time.
Okay. And it's not about never messing up.
Right. Not at all.
Yeah.
That's a key insight. It's not about avoiding mistakes or setbacks. Those are inevitable. Mental toughness is really about how you respond when they happen.
If you bounce back.
How you learn from it, pick yourself up, and keep moving forward. That's resilience.
And the benefits go beyond just handling stress better.
Oh, definitely. You'll likely see improvements in focus, better problem solving under pressure, stronger relationships because you communicate better. Just a greater sense of well-being overall, a more positive outlook, more determination, and ultimately, more persistence and success in reaching your goals.
Wow. Okay, so just to sum it up clearly, mental toughness is this learned ability to perform well consistently and maintain your well-being even when facing pressure, challenges, setbacks.
You got it. That's a great summary.
And in today's world, it feels less like a nice-to-have and more like an essential skill for actually thriving.
Absolutely essential. It helps transform stress from this overwhelming force into something manageable, something you can navigate and even grow from.
Okay, so now that we've defined it and broken it down, let's start digging into how we actually build these skills, starting with calm and confidence.
Sounds good. Foundational skills.
Right, so picture this again. Stressful situation looming, big deadline, tough conversation. Instead of that usual panic surge, imagine feeling grounded, calm, in control of your reaction.
It sounds amazing, but maybe a bit idealistic. Is it really achievable?
It is achievable, yes. Maybe not perfectly every time, but significantly better. And it comes through practicing emotional regulation.
Okay. And just to recap, regulation isn't about not feeling things.
Definitely not suppression, no.
Yeah.
It's about skillfully managing your emotional responses, especially the difficult ones, like steering a ship in a storm. You acknowledge the storm, the waves, the wind.
You don't pretend it's sunny. Exactly. But you use your skills to navigate through it, not get tossed around helplessly. The goal is to understand why you're feeling a certain way and then guide that energy constructively so it doesn't cloud your thinking. We want emotional competence, not numbness.
Okay? Because we've all been there, haven't we? Where emotions just take over.
Oh, yeah. Emotional hijacking.
Anger flares, you say something you regret instantly. Anxiety freezes you up before a presentation. Frustration makes you just want to quit.
In those moments, our emotional brain basically overrides our rational thinking. We react impulsively, often in ways that don't serve us well long term.
So how do we break that cycle? How do we retrain that reaction?
Well, one of the most powerful tools, and it's very accessible, is mindfulness, often through meditation.
Mindfulness.
Okay.
How does that work for regulation?
It works by training your attention. You practice focusing on the present moment, often your breath without judgment.
Noticing without judging.
Yes. As you practice, you get better at noticing your thoughts and feelings as they arise, before you get swept away by them. This creates a tiny but crucial space, a pause, between the trigger and your usual reaction.
A pause.
And in that pause, you get a choice. You can choose a more thoughtful response. You can also practice letting go of those negative, unhelpful thoughts instead of wrestling with them.
That crucial pause idea is really powerful, just having that little bit of space to choose.
It makes all the difference.
And it makes sense that just being more aware of what's going on inside thoughts, feelings, helps you understand your own triggers better.
Absolutely. It's like turning the lights on in a dark room.
Yeah.
You suddenly see what sets you off.
Yeah. And it's amazing that research shows even short, regular mindfulness practice can actually increase mental resilience, like measurably.
It does. Studies show tangible benefits relatively quickly. And related techniques like cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, also help here by teaching you to recognize and actively change those negative thought patterns.
Okay, so for someone listening who wants to start, what's a really simple first step?
Super simple. Dedicate just 5 minutes a day to focused breathing.
5 minutes. Everyone can find 5 minutes, right?
Pretty much. Find a quiet spot, sit comfortably. Just bring your full attention to the sensation of breathing, in and out.
And thoughts will come up.
Oh, they absolutely will. Your mind will wander. That's normal. The practice isn't about stopping thoughts. It's about noticing they've wandered and gently, without beating yourself up, bringing your focus back to the breath over and over.
So, observing the mind's activity, not trying to force it blank.
Exactly. You're learning to be a calm observer.
Okay. So consistent mindfulness helps retrain that stress response, helps us stay calmer. And alongside that calm, we need confidence.
Yes. That firm, realistic belief in our ability to handle things. And again, just to be clear, this isn't about being arrogant or cocky.
Right. Not overconfidence.
It's a grounded belief in your capacity.
Because that inner critic, that self-doubt, is such a common problem, isn't it?
It really is. Those thoughts like, I can't do this or I'm going to fail, they really undermine mental toughness. They lead to putting things off, playing it safe, holding ourselves back.
Yeah, limits our potential.
Yeah.
But you said confidence isn't fixed. It's buildable.
Absolutely buildable.
Yeah.
It's a skill. And one really effective way to build it is through setting and achieving small, manageable daily goals.
Small daily goals, how does that work?
It creates this kind of positive feedback loop, or maybe a feed-forward loop is better.
Feed-forward loop of success. I like that.
Yeah. So you set a small, achievable goal for the day, complete one specific report, make that call you've been avoiding, spend 30 minutes on that project.
Okay. Tangible things.
Right. And when you do it, when you tick it off, you give yourself concrete proof. Hey, I did that.
Yeah.
Even small wins generate a feeling of accomplishment.
Counters the self-doubt.
Exactly. It provides evidence against that inner critic. It's like making small, regular deposits into your confidence bank.
Building up the balance.
Yep. You build momentum. You start to believe more in your ability to execute, which is what psychologists call self-efficacy. And that comes from doing.
So consistently knocking off those small goals actually rewires our belief in what we can handle.
It really does. Action builds confidence.
Okay, so we've got calm through emotional regulation, confidence through small wins. But resilience isn't just about feeling calm and confident, right? We also need to handle change and protect our energy.
Absolutely. Which brings us to adaptability and boundaries.
Right. Adaptability first. So
Yeah.
This isn't just putting up with change.
No, it's more active than that. It's about embracing change, seeing challenges not just as problems, but as opportunities, being willing to adjust your approach when things shift.
Okay. Flexible thinking.
Yes, and this ties directly back to that growth mindset idea we mentioned earlier, believing you can develop your abilities through effort.
Because our natural tendency is often to resist change, isn't it?
Yeah.
We like predictability.
We do. Change can feel threatening. We worry about failing, looking incompetent, losing control.
Yeah.
That fear of the unknown or fear of messing up can make us dig our heels in.
Which stops us adapting effectively.
Exactly. And that's why actively cultivating a growth mindset is so powerful. Shifting from my abilities are fixed to I can develop my
Big
abilities.
as everything.
It really does. Challenges become learning opportunities. Failure becomes feedback, not a final verdict. Shifting from I'm bad with technology to, okay, I can learn this new system with some practice.
That reframing makes a huge difference.
Okay.
So being adaptable helps us navigate change, but that takes energy.
It does,
Yeah.
which is precisely why boundary setting is the crucial partner to adaptability.
Okay. They work together.
Yes. Boundaries are about recognizing your limits' physical, emotional, mental bandwidth, and then communicating and enforcing them. It means saying no sometimes, protecting yourself from overextension and things that drain you unnecessarily.
But saying no is hard.
It really can be. We feel guilty, right? At worry about letting people down, looking selfish, causing conflict.
Yeah, especially if you tend to be a people pleaser.
Mm-hmm. Discomfort with someone else's negative reaction can make us say yes when we really mean no, and that leads straight back to overwhelm and burnout.
So how do we practice saying no without feeling awful about it?
Start small. That's key. Practice on low-stakes things first.
Like,
Maybe declining a social invite you don't have energy for, or turning down a small, non-critical task at work. And when you do say no, try to be clear, concise, and don't over-apologize.
no need for a long explanation.
Usually not. Something simple like, thanks for asking, but I can't take that on right now, or my plate's full at the moment. Each small no builds confidence for the bigger ones.
Okay, start small, be clear. Got it. And it feels like both adaptability and boundaries rely heavily on knowing yourself well.
Exactly. Which brings us back to self-awareness as the foundation.
The cornerstone, you called it.
Yes. Because how can you adapt effectively if you don't understand your typical reactions or triggers? How can you set boundaries if you aren't clear on your limits or your values?
Right. You need to know where the line is.
Precisely. Self-awareness, knowing your thoughts, emotions, triggers, values, strengths, weaknesses, allows you to make conscious choices that align with your well-being rather than just reacting automatically.
So how do we boost self-awareness? What are the tools?
Well, one really powerful tool is journaling.
Journaling. Okay.
Just taking a few minutes regularly to write down thoughts, feelings, experiences. It helps you observe your own mind, notice patterns, process emotions, analyze how you handle challenges.
Like asking yourself questions.
Yeah, simple prompts can work well. What challenge did I face today and how did I react? Or what triggered a strong emotion in me and why? It brings unconscious patterns into conscious awareness.
Okay, journaling for insight. What else?
Another really effective technique is visualization.
Visualization, like athletes do.
Exactly. It's used a lot in sports psychology, but it's valuable for anyone. It involves creating vivid mental images of yourself successfully handling situations or achieving goals. It's mental rehearsal.
How does that help?
It boosts confidence, sharpens focus, and actually helps prepare your nervous system. When you mentally rehearse navigating a stressful situation calmly and effectively, using the skills we've talked about, achieving the outcome you want.
You're priming yourself for success.
Precisely. You're building familiarity and reducing anxiety about the unknown. We asked earlier, what do top performers do? They mentally rehearse success.
Okay, can we try a quick guided visualization for the listener?
Sure. So if you can, just take a moment, maybe close your eyes if it's safe to do so. Bring to mind a situation that usually feels stressful or challenging for you.
Okay, got one.
Now, vividly imagine yourself navigating that situation successfully. See yourself feeling calm, grounded. Picture yourself using some of these techniques, maybe taking deep breaths, setting a boundary clearly, thinking adaptably. Imagine achieving the outcome you desire. Really try to feel the positive emotions associated with that success. The relief, the confidence, the satisfaction. Just hold that image and feeling for a moment.
That actually feels quite powerful.
It can be. Regular practice makes it even more effective. And tools like these, adaptability, boundaries, self-awareness, visualization, they really equip you not just to cope, but to actually thrive under pressure.
So pulling it all together, this idea of mental toughness,
Right.
it's not about being invincible or emotionless.
Not at all.
It's really about building that inner resilience, that resourcefulness, developing the skills to handle challenges well, protect your well-being, and really flourish, not just survive.
Beautifully put. That's exactly it. Flourishing in the everyday, not just in crises.
So for everyone listening, the real challenge now is putting something into practice, right?
Yes. The invitation is to commit to just one technique we talked about. Maybe it's the 5 minutes of mindful breathing. Maybe it's setting one small goal each day. Maybe it's journaling for a few minutes.
Just pick one.
Pick one and try it consistently for the next week. Notice how you feel. Maybe even jot down a few notes about your energy or mood. Consistency is key.
Consistency.
Right.
It's a journey.
Absolutely. Building a resilient mind takes time. Be patient with yourself, be kind to yourself, and know that growth is always possible.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for walking us through all of that really valuable insights.
My pleasure. Great conversation.
And thank you all for joining us for this deep dive into building mental toughness.